All right. I'm going to do another video that this is just a kind of a video that's not part of the Odyssey, but it's just general video about general stuff that is about my time in Aspire, the psych hospital. But at this point, is not necessarily in the story, but might make it in. I don't know. So let's see. They're just kind of notations. But before I start, um, I'm watching something right now with John Oliver, and it's the 17th of November. That's when I got out, by the way. This is today, 8:57 p.m. Um, one of the days is probably be second or third to the last day, my last day there. More new people came in yesterday, and they are. This is the way I wrote down the notation, so I'm just going to read it as is. More people came in yesterday, and they are also kind of crazy-er. 3 with each their own brand of special. One big one one big black guy with googly eyes, one old white guy, slightly bald, that is delusional about how fast he's getting out of here. Lastly, one female, possibly a black Native American hybrid that seems not too loony, except wears a mask, possibly for comfort or soothing reasons. So, yeah. I hope nobody takes too much offense to my, you know, blunt first impressions. Later on, that I think it was that black guy that was that had to be removed because he had some kind of medical condition. But they had to call paramedics and take him to a hospital or something. I assume a hospital. Um, so this is kind of an example of how these facilities, this facility in particular, is just even though it's one of the better facilities, it's just they get in over their heads. And I'll get into more detail. But they had a person there, LaRonda, I think her name was, that definitively should not have been there. Like, to me, it was obvious. I have a half brother. His name is Mark. She's on that same kind of level. She needs long-term care, and it's obvious to me that she needs long-term care. Or she's diagnosed that something is wrong with her, that she needs intense care that facility was not prepared to handle, and that she needs like a team of specialists. She doesn't need like babysitting which that was that facility's, you know, care or specialist. She needed a different kind of care that facility that I was at was giving out. She needed a different level of care, a different kind of care, and she should have been somewhere else. And I think that was obvious to everyone, even the nurses there, and it should have been obvious to the psychiatrist. He's a psychiatrist and board certified and all that shit, and he should have been on. I mean, I'm just a guy. I have a half brother who has severe cerebral palsy, and I can look at her for, 30 seconds and be like, this is not the right place for her. And there were maybe over the course of my stay there, maybe 5 people that came in like that. And I was like, yeah, these people need to be at a different facility, like definitively at a higher care, more intense care, specialized facility where they will have on duty, high level psychiatrists all the time and high level nurses all the time, and very, it's just shit basically. They're not, and it's just not, it's the wrong fucking place for them. And, it's just, they were not given the care that they were supposed to get. Anyways. This is going to be a mismatch, just so I can clear out some of the gunk that I've written down. Okay, I'll talk about this in another video. That just does not belong. Oh yeah. They only had golf pencils there, those little shitty ones that are like that big, with crappy tips and no erasers. Blah. And the whole time I was there, I had this hand injury, and I still have it. It's like desensitized my thumb. And it was from, I'm guessing it was from when I had my hands cuffed by the cops, and they slid it down, and they were really hard on the handcuffs and shit. So I need to see a specialist about that now. And I will say, oh right, there's even though there are some bad things about the place, I realized it on the last night that I was there, that I think I'm gonna miss that the kind of background noise of the people chatting, and just oddly enough, the guy, my roommate, snoring, because I had 2 roommates there, and both of them snored, so kind of gonna miss the white noise, even though I have white noise of fan. I'm gonna miss that kind of white noise. So it's just a weird thing, even though the place had kind of a lot of bad stuff going on it. And, again, it's better than a prison, better than a jail. But I think it's kind of that Full House mentality, the empty nester mentality. So, whatever. But the place, I need to reiterate, the place was cold Like it's a frigid ass place, and it was also dry. There was like zero humidity. If you could go negative humidity, it would be negative. And I know that the nurses were like extra super excellent in there. But I will say this: the night shift nurses, everybody really complained about them. I mean, I know they were there and you need them and stuff, but the night shift ones, yikes. There was a real gap in um, empathy, and I don't know. It's just I don't know what the deal was with the night shift nurses. It seemed like the night shift people just really did not care. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't mean to really be I don't really mean to offend or anything, but it seemed like they really didn't care very much. Like they almost hated their job there. I don't know what the deal with that was. So I'm just putting it out there for the night shift people. Um, Maybe make it seem like you care a little more. I don't know. There were a couple that you could tell were, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, just weren't weren't as into the whole experience, but some were. I don't know. Whatever. It was a different vibe for the night shift. Again, I don't want to take too much of a jab at the nurses because you know they were the ones kind of holding the place together. Make sure I'm not. Make sure I got nothing else in that place. And again, this is not part of the whole mythological story that I want to kind of get to. Okay, so this is. All right, so here we go. The main list of complaints about Aspire. Grievances, if you will. The food, okay. The thing about the food is the food started out crap. It progressively seemed to get better. I don't know if that was me getting used to it more or if they just kind of did get better. I think it's probably me getting more and more used to it. But it definitely was total crap at the beginning. So the food was crap mostly, and yeah, and there was basically nothing to do. So you kind of participated in group just to have something to do, and you slept a lot because again, nothing to do. And it said, I say 30 to 40% of the patients um, should be in a different facility. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but yeah. Um, I think that could be because they were just bidding on patients or just trying to keep the place as close to maximally filled as possible. Because I'm betting that this Aspire facility is one facility owned by an umbrella thing, and the umbrella corporation or whatever owns like 5 or 10 or something like that. And so they're just like, it's just like a manager or whatever. And he like, oh, this patient has this, and I'm going to slot them in this place. And boom, boom, boom. Like it's like a game or something, and they slot them in wherever. So it's probably something like that. And I say in here, probably due to incompetence, ignorance, or some combination, or incompetence, ignorance, or some kind of deliberate corruption. I say, personally, I think it is a combination of all three at varying levels of the administrative tiers. Probably corruption in the sense of they want to maximize profits. So it's probably a profit motive in the sense that they want to keep all 5 or 10, somewhere in that area, 3 to 10 of their facilities that they own, maximally profiting at all times. Is probably what it is. The great American healthcare, privatized healthcare experience. And it says there was a woman that was really delusional. That was LaRonda, or I forget her name exactly, but she was a black woman that was highly, I say delusional, but I don't know exactly. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't make a real diagnosis. But she seemed really out of it, and about halfway through, she seemed, I don't know, like I don't know. It seems arrogant to say it, but she seems like she had some kind of thing for me and a couple of the other patients. Like she seemed to be a little bit obsessed, like have a minor obsession with me and a couple of the other patients. Like she wanted to communicate with myself and a couple of the other patients more than some of the other ones. And at the beginning, she always had a tech or a nurse with her, and then that just kind of tapered off to nothing. And this other patient, Sharon, got there, wasn't annoying for like 3 or 4 hours, and then became very, very annoying, being just extremely talkative and harassing people and saying weird delusional things and talking about Jesus this and Jesus that and just weird things about Jesus. And then eventually, I think when her medications got a little more balanced out, less annoying, still talking really weird, but by the end, not very annoying, just a tad annoying. So stuff kind of evened out. Yeah, it says LaRonda here. So yeah, I already talked about that. And then it talks about Quincy. My notes talk about Quincy. Shout out to that nurse in particular. Quincy, a nurse, brought some chicken tenders from Cane's, and that was basically the only good food we had. Yes, that was the only outside food that we had, and that was some good shit. So shout out to Quincy in particular for that. That was particularly awesome. He gets a special shout out. I don't remember the names of the other nurses, but all the first shift daytime nurses were particularly helpful and tolerant. Uh, Doug especially. Uh, there's no diplomatic way of putting it, but he was the heavy-set white guy. Also, Pounded. That guy was awesome too. That's the only name. That's the only other guy I know by name. Uh, but he held it down also. I know the other ladies. I know their faces. I have their faces in here. But they were especially on the ball on their game during the first shift, handling everything, with with diligence and a level of professionalism that the company should recognize. I shall say, recognize with whatever money, obviously, but I don't know. However you want to recognize it, however they feel should be recognized. So whatever all of them say, maybe they need some more vacation time or they need extra help to bring in, hire more people so that they can take an extra vacation week. Do it. Bring on extra staff. They were bringing on extra staff when I left. So maybe the company is recognizing that they're as good as they are. I don't know. But if that's the case, then good on you, Aspire. Give them some extra time, some extra paid vacation. Not unpaid vacation, paid vacation. And again, the place is eternally cold as the frigid Arctic. All right, that cannot be stressed enough. And then I state again that more people are troubled in some way that, needs to be addressed in a more specialized or more intense facility. I mentioned Mark in Dallas. Oh, and I single out group therapy leader Francisca. Has a whack job. That talks too much. She is the one that's obviously from Africa somewhere. She has an obvious African accent. I say that she thinks too highly of herself because she seems to really love her own voice and just love talking kind of a little too much. She doesn't provide the forum to other people to talk as much as the other two people that were leading the group, in my opinion. And there was a problem with group that we had therapists, basically, the group leaders. We had group a lot, but we didn't have any one-on-one time, in my opinion. The old white guy that did group, he said we were supposed to have one-on-one sessions, one a week, and I never got a one-on-one session with anyone. I was there 2 weeks plus, so I never had a one-on-one session. I don't know that anyone else did, but I never got one in 2+ weeks. So, whatever. Um, yeah. And I think that's pretty much everything, all the gripes that I have with the place. I have a few stories or a few snippets about the individuals there, but that's for another video. I hope this isn't too much of a dig on the facility itself or the people there. It's supposed to be a video about my gripes with the company running it. Looking back on it, while I was in there, it was more torturous than. It was more torturous while I was in there than looking back on it. So, whatever that's worth. I personally did not need to be there nearly as long as some of the others probably. There were a few that, like me, probably needed to be there only a few days, and they extended the stay a lot longer than was necessary. But they probably did that because of policy and because of legality and all that garbage. So whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. They didn't want to take the chance that, the psychiatric doctor said something that made me essentially kind of be like, you're thinking you don't want to take the risk that the medications you have me on are going to end up being non-effective over the course of 3 days. It's not going to work, so you're going to hold me here for 7 days. In my mind, that's BS, because you don't know the real reason I'm here, because I'm withholding information from you because I don't want to be held here for 30 days or 50 days or whatever, or transferred to another facility that's going to blah, 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 blah. Because I know how the psychiatric system works, and if you reveal certain thoughts to these people, they fucking hold you forever. That is why I'm making these videos. That leads into my little odyssey, which I will tell, and which will be interesting. It'll be a, what do you call it, glimpse into the mind of someone that has these kind of thoughts. When, when the mind gets gets a little break. They call it, like, I think psychiatrists call it a mental break. So, yeah. But my mind is working. I think most of you would call it normal. There's normal functioning. And the reason, I'll let you know in the first first video, part 1 of my odyssey. The likely reason. The only one I can very much surmise. Yeah. I can tell you that modern psychiatric methods and neurological medicines and neurology itself and brain mechanics and all sorts of things don't really provide enough information and insight to really offer a way to understand, let alone, in a lot of cases, sufficiently treat a good deal of these problems. It's a lot of time we have these drugs and you just kind of got to be like, well, these combinations or the single drug or combination of multiple drugs seem to just work. And so we just kind of play, roulette almost and be like, well, it works. Even though doctors are like, well, this works on this system of the brain. They act like they know a lot. And they think they know a lot more. But, a lot of times they just have to play a form of semi-informed guessing. We're just not quite there yet, but we're getting there. More information, leads to better guessing. So, all right, I think that's good enough for this video. I'll make one more with a little info on some of the people there that I asked questions about. I asked questions of some people that were willing to talk to me, and I told them I was going to make a video of, so they were okay with it. They were okay with me writing down some stuff about them. So it's not like I'm giving something away that they were, stuff they were willing to disclose, basically. I hope I haven't revealed anything that anyone is going to be too unhappy about. Again, if I said something that really pissed somebody off, I apologize for it, but it should be too offensive. I don't think I'm revealing anything about anyone that's world shattering. And all the nurses and all the staff seem to have done, I don't know, pretty professional job with the nature of what they are dealing with on pretty much a daily basis. So, I mean, and they do have to deal with that stuff on a daily basis. It's not just a here and there, once a month, once every 3 months kind of thing. They deal with. I, I got to see it personally, and I got to see, especially, I saw it and I thought, I thought these things, you think some of these things are like, ooh, wow, this doesn't exist. This is like an exaggeration that only happens in movies. Well, some of these things, some of these movie characters out there, they exist in real life. So, and it's kind of wacky to actually get a first-hand glimpse of a real live patient that is that. And you're like, wow, I thought that was Hollywood exaggeration. No, there's a person that is actually, that's just crazy when you actually see that that guy that's in movies, and you're like, damn, that's real. It actually exists. And just like, thought that was, I thought that was like, what do they call it? Artistic license. I thought it was just artistic license from Hollywood. And no, it's real. Well, all right. So, you just wonder, like, what other shit in movies, what other shit in some movies that you just think, that's, it's funny and stuff, but it's not, it's a little too far. People don't actually act like that. They're close, but they're not that extreme. Well, maybe, I guess maybe they are. I mean, there are 9 billion people basically in the world, so I guess statistically speaking, maybe they are that. So, okay. All right. So, tax high and kneecap, and boobs, people. Enjoy, and yeah, peace out.